sports, but in diving, say if you're at the next competition and you're getting those like symptoms kind of thing, just taking yourself out of that environment, going and sitting in like dry land or something, and just taking your mind off actually the competition and just think about something else.
Yeah, no, excellent. They're similar to what you were saying in changing the environment with finding the quiet place. And, you know, that's, you know, we can't be intense 100% focused the entire time. So actually, the ability to transition out and switch off for a couple of minutes, it can be really important so that when we do come back out and want to be at that 100%, then we've still got that energy level to do it. Good. Yeah.
Creating some pre-competition consistency. This is the lack of consistency you need to chronic anxiety. So to combat that, you have something that's constant that becomes reassuring for competition or match.
Yeah, definitely. So pre-competition plans, if we have a routine that we go through, that means that it is consistent. So we go through the routine in training. That brings a level of training comfort to the competition, enables us to release the pressure a little bit, enables us to feel confident in what we're doing because we know we've prepared as well as we can. We've gone through the routine. Excellent. Yeah. Listen to music. Yeah. Yeah. So we're, I think on a slide a few times we've got something like that. But again, that's being able to either detach from the competition or what we're going through, or it's a way to stimulate some more motivation as well. Good. Two more. Yes?
Try not to overthink what you're doing, because sometimes if you overthink it, you just get caught in it. And, like, if you just relax when you stand up to race, and like,
Yeah. So it was don't overthink it. Because when you overthink, then it inhibits you being able to perform and being able to maybe go through your routine that you want to do. Okay, it's very easy to go on a downward spiral. Once we have that first, second, third negative thought, we just keep going down. But if we manage to get the skills in place to stop those thoughts, to be able to control the thoughts that we want to control and get to the point where we want to, then we're able to have that relaxed nature going into competition that we want to have. Good. Yes?
Have a nervous poo.
Yeah? Yeah? No, absolutely. Yeah. Go and have a nervous poo. Yeah. Listen, I didn't put it on here, right? But there are physiological responses to having high anxiety, right? And being able to go and detach from the pressure of competition and release, that can be really powerful. Alright, so moving on to some of the things that I pulled from various sports and things. I'm going to be honest, that isn't on my list, but it's one that's very recommended. So, what we can do is we can accept our anxiety as normal, as it's part of competition. So if we tend to get really anxious before events, and then we get angry and emotional at the fact that we're anxious, that just builds that level of emotion and that level of anxiety. Whereas if we accept that actually, this is a competition, this means something to me, I want to be here, I want to perform, it's exciting, then we can start to understand and accept a certain level of anxiety is okay. And then just the acceptance can take a weight off your shoulders. We can label your anxiety. Okay, so this lady here, Carolyn Tate, she's actually from business, but she used to work in leadership in some of the biggest companies. And she named her anxiety Clive so that she could just not have so much stress related to it. So that she could just let that go. So yeah, she got sweaty hands before talking, or if there's a stressful day. But she would just, I don't know how she did it, but you know, oh, that's just Clive. And now it's not, oh, that's my anxiety and I'm worried about this. It's, oh, that's just Clive. Avoiding comparisons. We spoke about being on our own journey earlier. Obviously, we're competing against other people, against other teams, but we can't control what they do. We can potentially influence them, okay? But we can't control how they perform ultimately. What we can control is our performance. So we can compare ourselves to ourselves. But actually comparing to other athletes and competitors next to us, it's not going to help us build confidence. It's not going to help us be able to control our anxiety. Yeah, we've got these great quotes here. Johnny Wilkinson kicked the Rugby World Cup goal in 2003. And he said his anxiety had been so great he could see his heart beating through his shirt. Max Whitlock won countless medals for Team GB gymnastics. I try not to think about results and medals. I like to go there, and if I can do my routines like in training and the best I possibly can, then I'm happy. He knows that by his training that he gets to, if he can perform as well as he can do there, he's going to be in that place that's in and around the medals. And at that point, that's where he gets to. We want to accept that being perfect isn't real, especially now within this social media age where we have filters that can cover up everything. We can just project our best life on the internet, okay? We need to accept that being perfect every time, being perfect, the perfect routine, the perfect race, it just doesn't exist, right? We can get to a 9.5 out of 10. We can get to a 9 out of 10. We can get to a 9.8 out of 10, and like literally everything went exactly the way I wanted it to go. But it's still not quite perfect. There's still that extra which we're not able to get. I love this quote from Michael Jordan. One of the best basketball players of all time, arguably the best, some people would say. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games, and 28 times I've been trusted with the game-winning shot and I've missed. I failed over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeeded. So again, that enables us to take a bit of pressure off the competition. Obviously, some pressure is needed. We have to have some pressure to perform, right? But that pressure is a privilege. That's why we put ourselves through this training. That's why we put ourselves in the competition, so that we can enjoy that competition. Letting go of fear. American gymnast Simone Biles, I'd rather regret the risks that didn't work out than the chances I didn't take at all. So again, we're putting ourselves out there in competition. Right? We're putting ourselves in front of people that are picking teams. We're against people that know us and that compete against us all the time. Okay? And we race and we perform with these expectations. Okay? But when we let go of the fear, that allows us to perform at our best. Preparing the best we can. We talked about training, preparation, and we talked about the pre-competition routine. Right? If we know that we've done everything possible that we can, like Max Whitlock with that quote, he knows that if he does everything he can up to competition, he can go and enjoy the competition. I think my love for playing football comes from all the pre-season that I have to go through, all the travelling and everything like that, which I don't particularly enjoy. So I get to the first day of the season or into the season, and I love just being out on the field. I've been through all of this in the dark when no one's watching, and now the lights are on and this is where I am. Now I can enjoy the performance. Steph Curry, one of the greatest basketball players, is playing over in America at the minute. I've never been afraid of big moments. I get butterflies. I get nervous and anxious. But I think these are all signs, all good signs that I'm ready for the moment. He's changed the negative thoughts about nerves and anxiety in his mind to a positive, into excitement, into knowing that he's prepared. And again, that's conscious effort of thinking about things that way. Breathing, we saw the Ronaldo example earlier. And we were talking about it just down here a minute ago with breathing. Right? The ability to breathe slows our mind down. If we're counting the seconds on inhalation and exhalation and pausing, then our mind is focused on the numbers that we're counting. If we can really see that number, so for instance, when I stood over there and doing the breathing earlier, I'm counting to 5 and I see a 1 in front of my eyes. I see a 2, 3, 4, 5, then I exhale and I see numbers 1 to 7 in front of my eyes. That's where my focus goes. Now I'm not thinking about, oh, I need to get this time. Oh, I want to beat this person. Oh, that person looks really good. Now I'm focused on what I can control, which may be going into my routine. It may be, actually, I feel like I need to take myself out of this environment for a second and go and sit in that quiet room. I might need to go to the bathroom and disconnect. Okay? Last few here, we talked about music. This quote here, Michael Phelps, at one of the Olympics, listened to the song I'm Me by Lil Wayne over and over again. It's an incredibly crude song, as you expect from Lil Wayne, but it's got this quote in it here. And he's listening to that over and over again, and that fueled his confidence, right? That reduced his anxiety going into competition, because he's got this quote in his head. With that, you've got different cue words that you can use to reset back to it. So if you prepare and you've got this cue word, which can be anything, that doesn't have to be anything related to sport, it just means something to you. That just triggers you. So if you start having these thoughts when you're in the competition, you can say your cue word, and now you're back to your preparation. It's back to reminding you about what you can do in that moment to perform as you want to perform. We spoke about reflection and you know, the 3-to-1 ratio. So reflecting after every performance, therefore we can build and build and build, and we can recognize different things, and especially if you involve other people within that reflection as well. And then routines. I mentioned the video about Harry Kane earlier. We'll come to that one next, because that's good. So the penalty's given. Where is Kane? So Kane's at play. He's picked up the ball right on the edge of the box. So again, very similar to earlier. Good picture, isn't it? Very similar to earlier. There's like 2 or 3 minutes where the Panama players are just messing around. They're causing a stir. They're trying to get in his head. They're talking to the referee. Kane's routine. You watch it. He'll do it 3 different times. Clear the spot. Ball down. Sock. Undershort. Sock. Undershort, ball, shirt. Someone comes, interrupts him. Nah, this is my moment. This is my pre-competition plan. You can say all you want. I'll start my routine again. Down he goes, ball, sock, undershort. Shirt. And then a fight, well not a fight, a scrap starts on that side. Nope, that's not part of my routine. This is my moment, this is what I'm doing. Meanwhile, everyone in the stands is like just on edge. Goes down again, goes through the routine. Keeper's still trying to do it, but Kane's in his thing, he's taking a step back, I'm ready. Ref's going to get him in. Deep breath, chop chop, thanks for coming. So that's a moment where a lot of us, if we have to go and take a penalty in the World Cup right now, a lot of us might get a little bit anxious. Okay, but he's been through this process, he owns the process. A lot of what came out of the World Cup just gone, especially England beating Colombia on penalties, was owning the moment. Right, we have this routine. This is our routine of what we go through. This is my moment, and it's going to be on my time zone, my time scale. Talked about pre-competition routine and the ability to either influence or not influence others. I'm sure that you've seen this.
Look at Paul in the regular round. He's like he's going through a boxing routine, and Phelps is like, "Are you kidding me?" Oh my goodness! I have never seen anything like that in the regular. He plays some games sometimes.
Preservation slowly.
So listen, we talked about focus earlier, right? Are we able to reduce the distractions around us? Do I even see this clown in front of me? Or am I just locked in? I know that I've prepared well. Right? In his case, I know that I've done this before. Right? I know what my routine is. My routine is to lock in with the music. And you can do whatever you want, mate. And there's that famous picture from this race where where the South African guy's looking over and Phelps is way beyond them and sailing through. Right? Are we controlling what we can control, or are we trying to focus too much on other people? So that's just like a case study of what we might go through with people that have the performance anxiety, and maybe there's a few things that you can apply to yourself there. Is there any questions or comments going through this, and especially with the boxes that you have? Okay. Yeah.
We're talking about components and rationale.
Okay. So has anyone done the box that has components and rationale on it? It is on page... I've lost it. Page 2 of the boxes you can fill in on the top left. Who's got anything that they can suggest that might go in there? Like, why would you do that? So to me, there's two ways this question can go, and the tutors, you can speak if I'm saying it wrong. There's two ways we can go with this. The first one is kind of, as a mindset coach, I want to get to know about you and get to know your performance, your life. Then we can chat about what challenges you're facing, and then what skills and strategies we can go through. You can go away and try it. We can then come back and go through how it's gone. We can evaluate, and then we can keep moving forwards from there. So they're elements of a psychological program. Alternatively, the component could mean anxiety. So that could be a component of a program. So therefore, the rationale of how we may, so the component is anxiety, and we want to try some of the things that I just mentioned here. So maybe it's a cue word, maybe it's breathing, maybe it's a routine. But the rationale is, why are we trying to do that? How does that help? So I don't know which way it's going to come across.
Yeah, so it's just kind of rationale of why.
Yes. Oh, yeah.